conversation about the sound, and you've mentioned it, and I don't know where the thing came from, where people are like, what is our sound? And so people have this conversation about the sound, people have conversations about language, maybe should we say, and so we have a situation where a lot of our artists make music that when you're making it to cross. You're like, I need to make my music and I'll sing in English so that it can be played on MTV, right? I'm trying to cross. And people forget that when you're making music, number one, you're making it for an audience, right? And so you know your audience, you understand your audience. When those Nigerians are making those songs, they're not hoping they get to Kenya. Like the guy is singing in a language we're not hearing, we don't know what it means, we don't know what Gobe is, but he makes good music. After it gets accepted by his people, who are many, and so they're able to sustain him, it will cross because it's good music, right? So here we spend time trying to be like, oh, I need to make music that guys will understand, and you make music that's so far from your people that over here, because when you look at the Kenwa Marias, when you look at the Osogowinos, when you look at these guys who do traditional music, their music knocks, their fans are there, they have shows every week, they sell 100,000 copies of their CDs on River Road, they make money, because they're not trying to make money that will cross, the music to cross to UG, they're not trying to send it to them, they're like, I know the guys in Machakos, all 50,000 of them speak Kikamba, and they like the sound of this particular string instrument. Once I put that, I go. If you think about all the music that you like that's African, in my opinion, like Africans where music came into our culture is we used to have the drums and thingy and we dance. So number one, if you're an African and you don't make music for people to dance, you're stupid. Like what are you doing? Like people ask me, the music we have is not an expression, it's like, it's a dancing thing. We want to go and dance. Make music that Africans can dance to. It doesn't matter what language. You could be ululating, you could be screaming, you could be jumping, like I said, make people feel like moving, and the Africans will dance. It's not a language, it's not a sound, it's not feeling. It's a feeling. And once you crack that, that becomes your motivation to make the music, then your music will cross. But don't be like, I said South Africa in the song. I even mentioned like Nairobi to Lagos. So now we play in Lagos. Not gonna work.
I think another thing I want to add about the artists is a lot of them also, as much as Ken Wamaria has figured out his niche. If I play a certain string on my guitar and I sing like this, 50,000 Kambas will support me. I think a lot of artists these days don't research about the music industry, and I think that really bothers me. You want to send me your music, but you only want to send me the song, not a three-piece. So how am I supposed to essentially sell you on radio if you're not even selling yourself to me? And I think that really bothers me because the internet is like at your disposal. Research, find out how exactly am I supposed to send a song to a radio presenter to forward it to a head of radio so that my song can get spins.
But Mandy, doesn't that go back into the music industry?
Yeah, the
Yes,
system
it
that
does.
is
The start.
But
If someone is not teaching you as an artist
But-
to do these things, how will you know how to do
But
it?
earlier I said
You as an artist, you just want to make music.
Yeah.
You don't care about
Just
a
love
three-piece.
it.
And I agree with you on that, but I guess you can say that's the downside. Like we're living in that digital world where you can find out about this information. You know what I mean? So I think also artists should take responsibility as much as we want those systems
I think Mandy, on this one, I'm sorry, I can't agree with you on this one.
That's fine.
Because from my interaction with artists and like I mean, being one and interacting with all levels of them, it's like the common strain I have seen in artists.
Which is?
They do one thing at a time.
Okay.
If we make music, we make music.
Okay.
Our only problem is we want shows. Three-piece.
You're asking a lot.
I'm asking.
And after a while, you start to really understand artists. Like from the position, like the last 3-4 years, my life has been about being in service to artists, literally, like in service to them. Hey, how do you want to travel? How do you want to be accommodated? Okay, what time on the performance set? What upsets you about microphones being here? Okay, this is the way you are. When you see artists in their element, you completely understand why they can't be bothered to discover about a three-piece. They'll spend all their time on the internet watching this guy who plays drums. Like, have you seen like real musicians? If you look at their YouTube channels, the things that they subscribe to, they're constantly watching music, constantly like looking at ideas. They're not trying to understand how to put an EP kit together. But if you're the friend with the artist, like if your artist is your best friends with an artist, you'll be tempted to be like, let me just help this idiot, because to you from the outside they just look like an idiot because it's like it's so obvious. And I think like musicians are even the ones who have it best. Of all the artists, musicians have it the easiest. Now be friends with a visual artist, a person who draws. You can die. You're like, how will you? You have all this amazing art. Why don't you just like organize your Instagram so you can be like no, and then you can see that that's not the way. The world does not occur to them that way. The world occurs to them in a particular kind of way. This is what we do.
And you should respect it.
I agree, but the least you can do is send me a 3-piece. Let's just get that out of
Okay,
the way.
So if you're trying to send Miss Mandy music,
Just the least. No, because it's very hard to sell an artist who, like, let's say from whichever part of Kenya, they send you music, then they don't send me a bio of who they are or what inspired the song. How exactly do I get on radio now? I say, okay, so Mudhoni has this new song, and here it is. Like it makes it very hard, and it's beneficial for you. It's not only for me. It's very beneficial for them.
But another problem, because George, you kind of touched on it with Nigerian music, saying that they make music for their people. Like with the Kenyan industry, do you feel like we don't support our artists enough for it to go global like they do in Nigeria? Because I know Nigerian people, like, they will ride or die for Davido or whoever, but here I don't know anyone that's just like pro Muthoni, like pro Jaguar.
No, they'd rather tear down an artist faster than they'd rather build. They're just haters. Like, they will be like, Mudhoni's hair, dude, screw Mudhoni's hair. She's actually put out music. Like, can we listen to that? But they don't want that.
And that's
But can I say
Go ahead.
that?
it's true.
It goes back to this system, huh? A lot of the system that Koji talks about. A lot of people in positions who are there for a job. It is not what that guy, like a journalist was just there because he just happened to be that guy who's good in English and also now write for music. So he doesn't understand his position in terms of music and his role to play in the arts, which is so important. But if he thinks his job is to be a superstar in a paper, that changes the game completely. When people look at, I don't know, artists who are performing and they assume how much they make money and they say this is a top 10 list of wealthy people, there's no research at all. And now all of those assumptions come. People hate because they say you earn $10 million out of a fake survey, yet you're over here chilling in my hood. Why don't you sort me out? Now you see how that thing perpetuates. And so Kenyans just start hating of a bullshit idea that started from a guy who's not part of that system initially.
But let me ask you, if I as a journalist don't hype Mudhoni, right? My bottom line is, like, let's say if I don't say anything good about her, my bottom line is Kenyans get on social media to tear down an artist more than they uplift them. They should be helping you. The main reason why Nigerians are like successful is because a lot of Nigerians will ride for each other. Case in point, example, I was in Toronto in a club where this guy, he's a DJ, he always plays like Kenyan music or whatever, but there was a guy sitting in there saying, yo, why are you playing Kenyan music? Can you know, it's hard to understand that because you're in a foreign country, you should be advocating for this Kenyan song to play.
What you're talking about is what he hits it on the name. If you got music that's live, people will support you. But you also have to look at a lot of people who are putting music that's not live. You can tell from the start it's a copy and paste. You can tell, so don't be mad when people react the same way. I think there's very unoriginal music, and if it is original, you don't see it because whoever's a gatekeeper, like I said before, feels like you're paying me to put this on because it's what you get what I'm saying.
And incidentally, even in those other evolved markets, somebody had to pay somebody to get spins on radio.
Sure, of course.
It was never the artist having that conversation and dealing with a journalist's ego.
Well,
And the artist didn't go to bitch about it on Twitter.
Yeah.
Your presenters.
Right? Because for us, it's like this thing. It's so real. It's structural. Is a real thing. Like the absence of system means that an artist has to engage with a gatekeeper. A gatekeeper asks you to justify. An artist cannot justify. By the time they have created the body of work and presented it, it is self-justifying. That's the end of that's their part in the equation. It's like if we just, the food chain, you know, like, it's not the work of beans to end up being like in a salad. Beans grow. I've grown. I'm a bean. I have finished my purpose on earth. I am now a bean in nature. You, who's like taking it, right? It's the chef's work to be like, if I put this bean and put some pepper, it's somebody else to transform this into something. And that's really been lacking. So the bean can't like implode into a salad. Come on. Yeah, I think so.
And I think people will like something hot. So
Yes.
we made it hot. Like now the reason we like Nigerian or we
It's
like
hot.
South African is because it's hot
hot,
right now.
yeah.
It's a human thing. It has nothing to do with Kenyan. Our culture, or our society, so far we're not big on, like, when you go to Uganda, when you go to Nigeria, they're big on entertainment and coming and like, we're going to have a show this Friday and there are 10,000 people and we came to watch Balmoin. Like there's nobody from anywhere else who came except
one person.
our guy. And already that's how their society is. So as it grows, and now the hotter one obviously now gets more people. Here we don't have that already. Like we don't go to social places and sit to watch so and so. But like I think the closest we ever came, and why I know it can work, people liked Camp Mula.
Yeah, I did.
Like,
In the
like there
States,
was
I loved
the
it.
thing that you're saying that there's no that one Camp Mula had that thing, and
Yeah.
it had their organic guys who are like their actual fans, and then it had everybody else who got sucked into the hype.
I see even now, think how long when Just a Band came out. Imagine us guys who are original Just a Band fans, right? Then you go into spaces now and people who you would have fought over until you die
And now
about
embrace
Just a
it.
Band, they're like, yeah, you know that stuff is fresh. You're like, what do you mean it's fresh? This has been on for like 7 years. How late are you to this party? But it's happening. Because people also like, people progress in the sound. And I do agree. Me, I want a sound. I think we need a sound. I think we need a sound that 300 million East Africans can plug into and be like, this is our thing. I think we need a sound. I think language is the real thing. And I think the way the culture here, that people consume entertainment. And I think this is the real thing. I think some things have got to change. I think the rules should come, you know. They happened in Nigeria. They woke up in the morning about 10 years ago, 70% was going to be local content, and then the government backed it up and they gave the grants, and then Nollywood imploded. And then all the foreign ministries in Africa were told you're only doing one thing and one thing only, cultural diplomacy. And so that's how you started to have Niger Night here. You know, you have an entrepreneur and you have an ambassador who's in alignment. Our thing is we need to make Nigeria more friendly and approachable. We need to drop the drug look and make the fun, good life. So we're going to have this. Okay, what do you require? Okay, you need a way to let all the Nigerians know. We will send out the email as the mission. We will let all Nigerians who are registered with us know you're going to do your part, and we're going to collaborate and we're going to cooperate, right? And it worked. And so now when you think Nigeria, you think hot. You don't think drugs.
No.
That's been such a short time. So it's like there's some cooperation that requires to happen. And when they started, like, come on, imagine you guys, think about the first P-Square video you ever watched. When they had cornrows and they were just over there trying to be what's his name? Asha.
Asha, yeah.
that's true.
Right? And then the sound kept evolving, and then they found something that was more organic and true to themselves, right? And then they started to do this thing, and they didn't need to be any version of anybody but themselves. And the system works, and then now you have the music. So it could work.